Hello and welcome to Miss Charlotte Astrology. I'm Miss Charlotte, a full-time working astrologer, and on this YouTube channel I analyse the astrological charts of public figures, very often celebrities. And today I will be analysing the chart of Mathew Perry, who sadly and quite recently passed away. A lot of you guys that follow me on Instagram, and if you don't follow me on Instagram, and because I'm new to YouTube, if you guys have just come on board and you're on my channel, hi, I'm very active on Instagram because that's where I started as an astrologer. Please follow me, ms.charlotte.astrology. Anyway, a lot of you guys talk to me on there and you've suggested that I should do this reading. I wanted to wait a little while. I wanted to wait after they buried the guy because I don't like to jump. I don't want to just jump on something for clicks and views. I feel it's a little bit exploitative. I would want this reading to be, kind of in memoriam. I would like it to be in memoriam. I want it to be respectful and to celebrate his life. I'm going to be looking at the good, the bad, and the ugly, but I want to make sure that I'm not tarnishing his legacy or trying to, hop on some kind of viral train. That's just, you got to practice some sensitivity when it comes to this stuff. Also, I just want to let you know that I'm not here to make you guys paranoid. If you guys have a transit or a placement that is very similar or the same to Mathew Perry, I don't want you to think that what I say about him is going to be true for you. I'm not here to perpetuate paranoia. That's just not my style. And in regards to his transits on the day he died, I don't want to make you paranoid. I don't know of any definitive transit that indicates someone is going to die. Death is between you and God. It has nothing to do with me. I'm just an astrologer. I just read the chart. I'm not here to be some false prophet and predict dark things. It's irresponsible. So yeah. I just have to get that out of the way. Also, I just want you guys to know that I have 50% off my recorded readings at the moment. I'm going to take it down really, really soon. So they are 20 minutes. And all you have to do is click the link. I'm going to put it below. If you click the link, you find a time and a day for which I can complete the reading. And then I send it to you in MP3 form within 48 hours of that specified time. It's just a recording of my voice just tearing up your chart. If you have a specific problem or an issue or a situation you want me to reference in the reading, then you can put it in the notes when you book. Okay? Anyway, let's get into it. Let's talk about Mathew Perry. Let's do it. So this is his chart. Oh, he was Leo rising. Of course, Leo rising's showmanship. Da, 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 da. And he was a Leo sun. So let's just move around the chart, shall we? People with a sun in the first house, they are very focused on themselves. That's me being very polite. They often get called selfish, and especially Leos. Leos are often accused of being arrogant or egotistical. I'm in Aries and I get called that too. The sun is exalted in Aries. Leos, if you're out there and people call you a narcissist and selfish, hey, it's just because we're the best and they're just jealous. So, meh. Whatever. But people with sun in the first house, they can be very protective of themselves. They don't want to seem weak. Leo is also a very masculine, a very strong sign. The first house is the sword and the shield and the armor. You know what I mean? It is how it's presenting. It's present, right? So when the sun is located in that first house, that person is going to be very, that person is going to want to protect themselves. They're going to armor up a lot and they're going to use things, or if it's Leo, it's going to be showmanship and humor. It is literally the sign of performance, Leo is. The sun is trining. See, the trine is the blue line. See the blue line that's leading up to that midheaven? See that? The sun is trining the Aries midheaven. So he's going to get a lot of honor and praise and success for his work. The midheaven is the highest point in the chart. It is how the world sees you and what the world wants from you. His is in Aries. And Chiron is, it's not in a conjunction, but it's not too far away. So he is, I don't want to say he's a man's man, but he does, look at Friends. He really wants to portray himself as a man, but he's so insecure. He's got that wounded masculine, still manly, but very insecure about how manly he is. And that generation born in the late 60s, early to mid 70s, they have that Chiron in Aries, and the men born under that have a really, really tough time. They're having a tough time right now because they're going through their Chiron return. A lot of them are getting divorces and building rocket ships to other planets. You know who I'm talking about. So his image is that of the wounded masculine, and that's what Chandler Bing was. And he laughed at it. It wasn't, he used his insecurity to make other people laugh, and that makes a lot of sense here. People with Chiron in the 10th house, or Chiron on the midheaven, or Chiron in the same sign as the midheaven, they have a lot of trouble with their public image. Like, they're really worried about, often they're very worried about, oh, what's my role in the world? How am I supposed to contribute to society? I don't know who to be, and I don't know what to do, and it can be quite awkward. But ultimately, they're meant to be healers. People with Chiron on the midheaven, or Chiron in the same sign as the midheaven, they're meant to heal the world. They're meant to kumbaya this shit. And for a very long time, they are very insecure about how people perceive them in the public eye. I do remember an interview that Matt gave when he talked about working on Friends, and he said when he couldn't get that laugh, it tore him up. It made him so insecure and self-loathing when he couldn't make the audience laugh, because 99.9% of the time he made the audience laugh, but that 0.1% of the time he didn't, and it destroyed him. So that makes a lot of sense. And that has a lot to do with his masculinity and being a man and being strong, not wanting to look weak. But that's the thing, him being so insecure about his masculinity is the very thing that made him funny, right? Let's have a look at his south node. So the north node over here, this horseshoe looking thing, the soul's evolution, that's the thing that one has to achieve in this lifetime. His is in Pisces, which is the healer, the sacrifice. It's the Jesus energy. It's a water sign. It's in the 8th house of death and transformation. And when you pan out, you can see how far away that north node is from his personal placements. He truly did make a sacrifice. That was his destiny, to leave all of this behind. It's selfish. That's me. It's oversimplification right now. I know it is, but it is very self-concerned. Like, the first quadrant of your chart is a selfish part of the chart. It's you, right? His south node, which is the early part of his life, his past life, it's what he started off with, is in Virgo, which is very high anxiety and very controlling. Mercury's here. He's always in his head. Mercury is also in a conjunction with Pluto. So just someone who always needs to be in control. And that is incredibly painful. It makes sense that he would use substances to regulate, to either ease the pain or even make him more productive, in a way, which is very toxic. Pluto is the planet that actually rules the house that his north node is in. Interesting. So he was not born drunk, but he was introduced to the thing that would eventually destroy his body at a very, very young age. There is an interview with Mathew where he talks about how when he was a baby, his parents took him into the pediatrician because he wouldn't stop crying because he's a baby. And the doctor prescribed a barbiturate, a a pediatrician prescribed little baby Mathew Perry with a barbiturate. And that was the beginning. That was the beginning of it all. That was the beginning and the end. So he started off just, drowning in addiction at a very, very young age. I think he started drinking when he was a teenager as well. And it's all about trying to control and to also alleviate the pain of being in control. It's quite difficult. And then he achieved his North Node, this destiny here. He had to transcend his addiction. He had to transcend his pain and offer himself up to something, sacrifice his love for substances for something greater than himself. And that was opening a sober house, turning his home into a sober house. He purposefully made himself homeless in order to help others that had the same problem as him. Not only was he achieving his North Node, but he really was fulfilling this Chiron 10th house thing where he was destined to be a healer to people, right? To be an example. And as soon as he did that, as soon as he got sober, he passed away. He should have died in 2018, guys. He should have died. Because a lot of people are messaging me, asking me, why did he die? This is so horrible. Is it really? Because he should have died earlier. He was given a chance. Like, God swooped in, was like, nah, not today, son. Like, you have some work to do before you go. And he did. And once that was complete, he was ready to pass on. He had abused his body so much over the years that it's not surprising that he could have had a cardiac arrest all of a sudden. That's what happens to people when they abuse their bodies when they're young. They have, even when they get healthy and they get sober, they pass away quite suddenly. He should have died when Saturn was actually moving through his 6th house of health. See, 6th house. 2018 was the Saturn in Capricorn transit. Not an easy transit. That's when he should have died, but he didn't. And he got a second chance and he lived a little bit longer. Let's talk about these intercepted energies here. So he has a Taurus intercepted in the 10th house. Saturn, the father, the authority figure, is not there. Daddy's gone. Party trick for you guys. If someone has an intercepted Saturn and they are lacking in a male presence, the father is not there. The father is away. The father is not present. They're not there in some capacity. And I do believe that the man that raised him was his stepfather, and his biological father left when he was a baby. So that makes a lot of sense with a missing father, where he is trying to create structure and stability for himself, is in the 10th house. People with Saturn in the 10th house, they get successful. They can be they often have to, climb long and hard up to the top, but they eventually get there. And when they get there, they stay there. It is a very successful placement. It's a very hardworking placement. So it's not surprising that he achieved the success that he did. He also has part of fortune in Taurus in that 10th house. As successful as he was, I feel like with this interception, he never really truly thought he was. He never he never truly felt like he had ever made it. But he did. Billions of people watched him, and he made a lot of money. But when you have an interception, there's an inability to feel that energy very often. And then down here, there's this interception with Scorpio in the 4th house. The 4th house is the home and the mother. It's actually ruled by the moon, so the moon is actually meant to be here. The moon is not well aspected at all. Interception of Saturn is the loss of the father or a missing father. The interception of the moon is a missing mother. Or I'm not saying that his mum didn't love him. I'm not saying his mum wasn't there. I haven't read his autobiography. I don't know. But he may have been lacking in the nurturing department, So the mother may not be that present or that aware. For him, feeling his feelings is really, really difficult. That moon is not aspected well at all. There's only red lines coming out of it. There's only oppositions and squares here. So for him to feel feelings is incredibly painful. This is another placement that shows me he has an addictive personality, an addictive nature, because it's occupying the same sign as Neptune, the planet of drugs and fantasies and delusions and impracticality. So they're not in a conjunction, but they are occupying the same sign. When I see Neptune in the 4th house, it's almost like, oopsies, accident. When I see Neptune sitting in the 4th house, there's an instability in the home, right? So it's almost like the rug has been like just, ripped out from under his feet, and he can't stand up. This is not solid ground he is standing on here. Neptune in the 4th house is a homelessness energy. Very often people with this, they can be, the children of immigrants, or they've had to flee a country, or they've had to, that wasn't true for him. He wasn't a refugee, but there is this sense of homelessness, of spiritual and or cultural homelessness. And he was American, but didn't he like move to Canada when he was very young, and he grew up in Canada, and then he moved back? Like there's an instability with the family here, which led to him changing locations. That's very common with this placement. And with its proximity to the moon, that is a drunk moon. That is a moon that doesn't want to feel. That moon feels everything. A Scorpio moon feels everything. Scorpio moons also often have trouble with their mothers. And the fact that it's here and it's intercepted, there's something going on with that mum. Doesn't mean she didn't love him, and it doesn't mean she was a bad mother, but there are some issues here. Let's move out. Let's talk about his Venus. Venus is love. Venus is the heart. Venus is your values and your desires. And it is lying in the 12th house, which is the Neptune house. A lot of Neptune. He's got a lot of Neptune and Pisces in his chart. So the planet of love is lying in the house of delusion and fantasies and addiction and drugs and secret enemies and crazy. What does that mean, Charlotte? It means he fell in love with people that he shouldn't have. It means that he made investments in relationships that were often wasted. It means that he ended relationships that were probably good for him. Like if there was a relationship that was good for him, he would sabotage it, like he did with Julia Roberts, who adored him. Oh my God, I could totally see them getting married and stuff. Like they would have been a really cute Hollywood couple. But he screwed that up because he didn't feel good enough. He had such low self-esteem. And also 12th houses, and I'm a 12th houser, that's another placement that indicates addiction. Venus in the 12th house is also, it could indicate infidelity. Maybe he was cheating, or he was in relationships with people that were cheating on their partners. It's very, very messy. Venus in the 12th is not easy. Falling in love in hopeless places, like the Rihanna song. That's what that is. The conjunction with Lilith could indicate he's, love could be his downfall, or he's attracted to women that are not too good for him. He could be attracted to women that are maybe of the night. Do you know what I mean? Of the night, women of the night, you know what I mean? He comes off a bit like that, falling in love with forbidden people, or people that, he wants to heal and help. Like if a woman is down on her luck and has no money, he's like, oh, let me take care of you. He's gonna wants to pull a Richard Gere in Pretty Woman. Like that's what I was getting at. But Venus in Cancer is incredibly loving and incredibly traditional as well. I have a Venus in Taurus, and Venus in Cancer, Venus in Taurus, we vibe. We love food, and he loved food. He was addicted to food. If he wasn't addicted to substances, he was addicted to cake. He certainly loved alcohol, but it's a very Moorish sign, Venus in Cancer wants to get married and wants to have children, and he never got that. He was always sabotaging these relationships, or he was always entering relationships that he had no business being in, because it was just a waste of time and a waste of resources. So But ultimately, it's a very compassionate Venus because it is in the 12th. It's very empathetic. It does trine that North Node. Very loving heart, very giving. Gosh. He's very sweet. He was a very, very sweet guy. You can see that. Let's talk about his Mars placement. So Mars is the phallus. If Venus is the heart and and feminine sexuality, then Mars is the masculine. And his PP, his dick, is in Sagittarius, the philosopher. It's the sign of higher learning. It is a very it's a very impulsive Mars, and it is in the 5th house. He's extra. He's a party animal. He loved a party. 5th house people love a party. Incredibly creative as well. But he was always motivated by learning. He always wanted to expand spiritually and intellectually, and it's a very hungry Mars. That can be a very addictive Mars as well, because there's no satiating that appetite. Sagittarius just burns up everything in its path and then always wants more. And he also has his Mercury here, and Mercury in Virgo at 19 degrees, which is incredibly logical. It's a very sober, exalted, and also at home Mercury. It works there, but it squares off. It's arguing with his PP, right? There is a clash. There is a war between the mind and the phallus. This is what I want. This is my phallus. This is the thing that I desire, right? And the brain over here is like, you idiot, you're not thinking straight. So there's problems with impulsivity. And when he is impulsive, either with substances or with sex or whatever, he ends up giving himself a headache. He ends up losing friendships. He can't communicate properly. Like, that's what Mars and Mercury squared mean. It's the war between the mind and the impulses. And that's what he had. Yeah, that's his chart. Guys, I hope you enjoyed that. I hope that was helpful. Please don't be paranoid if you have any of these placements. Like, if you have Venus in the 12th house, please don't freak out. Just don't have affairs with married people, okay? I'm looking at you, Venus in the 12th house, Venus in Pisces. Watch it. Anyway, guys, thank you so much. And Mathew Perry, you will be missed. You were a sweet... Look at his face. Look at... He was so handsome, wasn't he? He was everyone's... Like, was he your favorite on Friends? Yeah, he was my favorite dude. He was the smart one. He was like the awkward but cute one. And he was insecure, but he was funny about it. And it's all very endearing. Got that boy next door kind of quality as well. We miss you, Mathew Perry. We love you, Mathew Perry. And I love all of you. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. Bye.